Hejsan allihopa! Hello everybody, and welcome back to this week's episode of the Off Topic Podcast with me, your host, Elena, and my co-host, Stefano. Say hello.
Hello, hello.
And today I have a question for you, actually, right off the bat. I was informed through a reel on Instagram that made me want to ask you this question. So, when you see a yellow car, when you're driving and you see a yellow car with your friends or sibling or whatever, what do you do when you see a yellow car?
Oh, it's the yellow punch buggy. Typically, it's supposed to be a punch, but like an actual Volkswagen Beetle, but it kind of morphed from the Beetle into any yellow car you see. You're supposed to punch the person either next to you or like in front of you and scream out
Sure.
yellow punch buggy, no backseats or something like that. Is that just an American thing, or do you guys do that?
No, the reason I'm asking is because I thought this was a Swedish thing. We don't do it the same way. You see a yellow car and then you punch usually it's your sibling. You punch them as hard as you can in the arm so they get a bruise. Hopefully they get a bruise. And
something of the sort, yeah.
Yeah, you don't say anything else. You just say, yellow car. I thought that was just a Swedish thing. And then the wonders of social media informed me that someone posted, oh, Eastern Europeans when they see a car. And then other people commented that, no, this is a all Europe thing. And I thought, oh, it's a thing here. So I had to ask. And I saw so many confused Americans. So I simply had to ask. But I am delighted to hear that it happens across the pond as well.
Wait, you saw Americans who were confused?
Yes. So many of them.
Oh, that's weird.
Yes.
I've been doing it since I was a kid. And I'm almost 30, obviously. So at least the last 15 plus years.
But do your friends know about it?
Yeah, we all did it back in high school. Like I learned it from older kids who are older than me. Like I remember sitting in a car once and like one of the older like band kids, because I was in band in high school, one of them just screamed out yellow, like really loud, yellow punch buggy, and just sucker punched me in the shoulder. And I was just like, what was that for? And then like slowly like everyone just started doing it. Every time we saw a yellow car, everyone was like trying to knock each other out. Well, not really, but to the point of trying to knock each other out. And then that's why, like how you said you don't say anything else, we would say yellow punch buggy, no backseats, or something of that sort, so that the person theoretically would not punch you back. Because sometimes, if you get punched hard enough, you're gonna someone's gonna punch you back. Possibly.
Yeah, you're not gonna you don't punch back. So, the first puncher, they're the ones who punch, and then you can't do anything about it. You're just lost.
Right.
I am delighted to know that this is clearly a universal thing. I've gone from thinking it was just a Swedish thing, and then, oh, maybe it's a Nordic thing. Oh, maybe it's a European thing. Oh, no, Americans do it too. That is so fun to know. That is one of the positive reactions.
Not too long ago.
Oh.
It was, I think it might have been my
creepy.
friend Tori. I was riding in a car with someone,
Tori.
and they punched me. They punched me saying like yellow punch buggy, and I was like, oh my God, I forgot about that. So maybe that's why you saw those comments of like, what, we don't know what this is, because like I feel like it has died down a bit, because after high school and all that, like past 18, 21, I rarely heard it. So maybe that's why.
Well, that is very nice to hear. That makes me feel more connected to the rest, because it really confused me. It's such a typical kid thing to do, but now I'm hearing some voices. If anyone listening hears something going, that's my door, because I have my window open. Obviously it's -, and I will have my window open, but that does make me think that I wonder if the demon will greet us on this week's episode.
Oh, your lovely demon friend.
As it has, yes.
Yes. So if anyone is curious why we're mentioning a demon, I had to edit her audio out of from the last podcast, because every time I spoke, a weird, creepy voice would then speak either before or after my voice, and usually it was just my voice distorted. But there were several times where when I spoke, the voice afterwards was saying something completely different from what I was saying. And also smart. In like different pitches.
You're smart.
And
you're smart.
Yeah, there was one that like I like either I said a question or I said a phrase, and then it answered back, "You were smart," in like this really grumbly voice. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know
Yeah.
what's in your room, but
Mm-hmm.
have fun,
Very
because it was her
creepy.
audio, not mine.
Yeah. My
So
my my audio picked up his audio, which doesn't make any sense because I'm wearing headphones. The audio is completely separate, so I don't. Very, very, very creepy. And not gonna lie, I am a little scared that there is a demon in my house. So, Satan, if you're listening, welcome to the podcast. You may be a producer. The Off Topic Podcast with your hosts, Elena and Stefano, and Satan producing his greatest masterpiece from the
we'll see
Dark
with
Lord himself.
from your closet, basically somewhere in the
Ugh.
dark, decrepit closet.
Oh, stop it. No one's up. If I scream, you're gonna think something's very wrong. I can't wake everybody up in the house. And speaking of creepy stories, you have a lot of creepy stories,
I
don't
do. I
you?
tell you a lot of creepy
Hey,
stories
you
all the
do.
time.
Mostly just about the sizes of milkshakes, or sorry, coffee in your country, but
She doesn't like Starbucks. She thinks it's fake,
yeah,
which it
it
is
is
fake.
fake. It is very fake.
I
Yep.
can attest because I work there. But yes,
Yes, it's a milkshake.
but
That's
I
what
will
it is.
say to introduce our audience to some creepy stories of my childhood.
Please
Why
do.
not?
They'll light them.
Um,
It's a
so
bonfire now.
one of them being both of them actually being from when I was in Boy Scouts, because Boy Scouts are just creepy as hell in many ways, more in yes, many ways. So I was at Boy Scout camp. Both of these actually took place at the same Boy Scout camp, which now no longer exists because they decided to sell it.
Rest in
That's its own
peace.
story. Um, yes, Camp Trexler is what it was called. And basically, so I was finishing up what is called the Eagle Scout Award. For anyone who does not know what that is, it's the final badge medal you can get before you age out at 18. Because once you turn 18, and if you don't have that, you essentially kick you out.
Yeah,
So I was
you're boring
coming up
after
to
18.
that time period. I had to get a certain merit badge. I had a camp out with a bunch of kids, essentially,
Uh-huh.
because all the kids doing it were doing it when their first go about the camp. And we were there for a week, no cell phones, no TV. You're away from society, essentially. So
Yay.
there was probably like 12 tents, 4 kids per tent, and like 4 or 5 counselors by the fire. But they were allowed to stay up late because they had to watch us while we were, obviously asleep in the middle of the
Yes.
woods. So it's pitch black as well.
Like the classic
And
horror
if anyone
movie.
has ever seen the movie, right? If anyone has ever seen the movie Blair Witch Project, where she is sitting in the tent and you can hear sticks cracking, and then her tent starts getting pelted with rocks, and she's like, "What's that?" And then suddenly her tent
Okay.
just starts shaking out of nowhere. She grabs her camera and runs into the woods, and she's just running through the darkness. Essentially, that is what I experienced, but with many kids. And in my tent, I had like two 10 or 12 year olds, a kid who was a year younger than me, so probably like 16, and I think I was like 17.
Okay.
Um, and I basically started hearing the sticks cracking. The kids were asleep at that point, so they're not hearing it, but I am. The other kid was like woke up to like rocks being thrown out of the tent. He's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "It's not me. I don't know what the fuck it is, but it's not me." And us then the counselors were like, "Hey, who is that? Like, who's
Maybe
throwing
it was the
something?" They
horses
thought it was
from
us, then
Brokeback
they realized it
Mountain.
wasn't us. Uh, maybe. Um,
That's an obscure Family Guy
but
reference.
uh,
Go on. Sorry.
ba- basically, like the stick cracking got louder, the pebbles turned into big rocks, turned into bigger rocks,
Oh.
and then all of a sudden the tent just started. It was like an earthquake, like as fast as you
Ugh.
can shake a tent. If anyone in the audience has ever been in a tent with a tent shaking, it is horrifying
I've been in the
because you
tents, but
don't know
not
what's
with it
out there, and you
shaking. Oh
don't.
my god. If this tent's a rockin', don't come a knockin'.
Basically. But at first I was like, oh, it's the counselors screwing with us, clearly.
Yeah.
But I was like,
They're
there's too many tents. There's like 12 tents, and there's only 4 or 5 counselors. They can't all be shaking, and all these kids are screaming all at the same time.
it's
It was just
magic.
a massive
'Cause
screaming
it's
fest.
witchcraft.
Um, and I could hear like just things being thrown. I could hear the counselors like bloody murder screaming, being on their radios, being like,
Oh no.
"People are here. We can't see them, but people are here." calling basically to
Oh no.
the counselors further up the road to come help.
My God.
Um,
When
and eventually, like with enough screaming or whatever was happening, these people ran off, and you could hear them running off through the woods. And so it all
oh
died
no.
down.
Oh
I
no no
don't think I
no.
slept.
Oh
It was a
God.
nightmare getting the younger kids to go back to sleep. The
Oh
counselors
that's
acted
my God.
like nothing was amiss. That it was just like a big joke. They're like, ha ha ha,
Uh-huh.
it was just a joke, guys. Like whatever. I mean, what are
Keep
you
a
supposed
brave
to do with
face.
like 20 10-year-olds?
Right.
This is all screaming at the same time. So the very next morning, we walked back to our own troops and campsites, and then walked to breakfast. Everyone acted like it was no big deal.
Mhm.
Nothing happened until everyone left, and the camp owners, um, and like the ranger and whatnot, kept us older scouts behind who were at that merit badge, and at that camp, and they were like, "We just need to let you guys know. Please don't scare the little kids."
Mhm.
But what we didn't tell you is that there's a satanic devil worshiping camp right next door, essentially basically next door to where you were camping
Oh
at.
my
They're like,
God.
there is barricades and whatnot, but they can walk over them. They have gates, they can walk through the gate.
They can climb
Um
or they can fly because
but
they're devil worshippers.
they're satanic worshippers, yeah.
Exactly.
But essentially there was an agreement between the campsite and the cult next door that they were not allowed to crisscross into each other's territory, and to not scare the kids, and to not steal
Uh-huh.
things, and do weird rituals on campsite ground. They could do it on their own ground, not ours. But from what I've been told through various other stories, is that they don't really listen, and they come
Uh,
around, especially when the kids aren't there, to do whatever they feel like they want to do. And so in that
That's kind
moment,
of
I
funny.
guess they
That's
just wanted
cruel,
to
but it's
screw
kind of
with
funny.
a lot of kids.
Yeah.
And so they were screwing with us.
I think maybe they should
So
have
yeah, so
let it be known that it was them because, it's that could be very, very scary and especially for kids, but still, I'm not gonna lie, that is funny. That is funny.
I mean, for about like half the week, we were just calling them DWs because a lot of the younger kids were asking like, "Well, what was happening?" And we're like, "Oh, they were DWs," and then some other older scout was like, "Oh, they're dog watchers." So like it went from DWs to dog watchers, and
Oh,
then of
smart.
course there's always that kid or group of kids who then want to be smartasses, and then they're like, "Oh, there was devil worshippers next door."
Right, right.
And you're not trying to scare the kids, but these older scouts didn't care. So then obviously that got out, and everyone found out, and then parents got mad, and then it became someone calling the cops, kids' parents coming to pick them up early. It was an absolute mess. It was such a nightmare
Oh my
because there was
God.
actual devil worshippers, and a nightmare because people found out and parents found out, and it was just a whole mess. But yes, so there is that nightmare of a story. Would you like to
That
hear
sounds
more,
fucking
or would
terrifying
you
though.
like to?
Imagine
Do you
being in
have any
that
of your
tent,
own?
having that happen to you. That is fucking terrifying, bone chilling, is what it is. But no, I don't have anything like that. I mean,
I can laugh at it now, but
yeah,
mm,
yeah, that's good. You know what was, what the reasoning was, but that could be. I can't even
right,
imagine how terrified you must have been. You almost have been in the midst of it. But no, I don't have any stories like that. I've always been a skeptic, and nothing's creepy ever happened to me. Knock on wood, I guess. I, I've never been scared of the dark.
well, that's good.
Yeah, I'm just bad. I mean, I grew up in the middle of the countryside, and I was 3 when we moved, middle of nowhere, countryside house. I am so used to the darkness and nothing being around. I have more neighbors now than I did growing up, so I'm just very accustomed to darkness, and combine that with the fact that I'm a skeptic, it definitely doesn't make me experience anything. I think not that I don't believe in it. I think the whole supernatural yada yada thing. It can be true. I will just need a lot of proof. And I've listened to a lot of stories, a lot of Lorraine Warren and what's his face Warren. Those cases. I've heard
Right.
about it, and there's always loopholes, there's always holes to poke in stories, and there's always just, but why didn't anyone do so and so about it? Why did you just get a camera to film a chair flying? That kind of stuff. But no, I haven't really experienced anything. The scariest thing that I've experienced is, all external. I fell through the ice once. Did I tell you that?
Yes.
I did. Oh, well.
Okay. But if you want to repeat it for the audience, you can.
Yes, you see, in moments like that, you have to lie and pretend like I'm not told you so that it can.
Oh yes, I don't remember this story at all. Please continue.
You forget to be professional. You have to act, pretend like you don't know who I am. No, but I was with my class on ice to take a photo. It was a Friday afternoon, and we had some time to kill, so we decided to take a walk because why not? It was almost Christmas. We had the time, so we took a little walk, and all of us were going to take a photo on the ice. And now keep in mind, this is nothing weird. People take photos on ice all the time because I live in the Nordics. But the issue...
You guys are weird.
Yes, we are weird. But the issue is that my friend decided to... Keep in mind here, we were 14 and 13. So, not the, smartest tools in the shed. And she decided to jump on my back as we were taking the photo. And, of course, if I'm not, a big science person, but heavy stuff on ice. How do you like my sound effects? It's good? It's cool?
It was fantastic.
Is it a new career path for me, doing sound effects?
Yes. You need to be a sound effects person.
Hell yeah. Anyway, so we fell through the ice, and I was standing up, obviously. So I just slipped right in, like just plop. But she was, sitting on my back, so her knees were bent, and she hit her knees, so that was not fun. But I just remember blacking out. I was, waiting for my teacher to take the camera, and then I just fell through the ice. And I don't remember anything about the fall. I just remember waking up, or not waking up, but, looking around thinking, why am I suddenly down here? What happened? And it felt surreal. And it's a feeling that I can't explain.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, it was a moment of how the hell did I get here? And, you don't feel cold. You don't really feel anything because of the shock and everything. But yeah, I managed to crawl up. And like any normal person, my first instinct was to check in my pockets to see if the chocolate that I had was safe. My phone was destroyed.
Because that's the most important.
Yes. Phone, chocolate. I think chocolate weighs a little higher. No offense, phone. I fear actually if inanimate objects are in fact, real human beings with feelings. You never know. You never know. So yeah, that's all that I've experienced in terms of scary stuff, but that's not anything spooky. That's just a ice malfunction or brain malfunction, perhaps. Because why would my friend jump on my back? I don't know. Why not?
Do you remember actually do you remember being underwater?
No.
At all? Or was it so quick that you don't even remember being under the water?
It was so quick, and, my classmates obviously came to the rescue, and I think they, pulled us up. So I don't remember being in the water. I don't remember if it was cold. I don't remember how it felt going down. I don't remember anything. I didn't feel anything. Nothing hurt. I was just completely out of it. And then they pulled me up, and I realized, oh, I'm drenched. Okay, so this was real. This actually happened. And then I started laughing, because why wouldn't you start laughing when you fall through ice? Isn't that the normal reaction to have? I don't know what the fuck's wrong with me. But
I mean, I usually when people you're not completely wrong there. Usually, if someone at least with me, if I experience something that just catches me completely off guard, I start laughing. But usually, I'm laughing both because I'm confused and I'm also very nervous, and I'm just
yeah.
So I could be hysterically laughing as if I would find it funny, and people are like, "Are you okay? Why are you laughing?" It's no, I have no idea what just happened.
Yeah, I guess it's the same kind of as using humor as a coping mechanism. I mean, it is sort of the same. You laugh about the difficult stuff, and then so then maybe I'm not the only one with that reaction, but it was. I remember being confused because I was laughing and then everybody else was concerned, and I turned around and my friend was upset and hurt, and I was like, oh, okay, never mind. Shouldn't laugh. I thought everything was fine. That's on me. Uh,
I mean, I should say you still got the worst end of it. Yeah, like sure, her knees hurt, but you fell completely
oh
through
yeah,
into the water. Like really bad things could have happened. You could have completely drowned, disappeared. I mean, water under
yeah.
ice is very dark. So, like, I do
Well, it
feel
was in
bad
the
that she hurt her
middle of the
knees and got a
day.
little wet, but like,
No, 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 not no,
I mean,
not
still, it's
wet.
in the.
The knees actually hit the corner of the ice that had broken. So it was a, you know, tough ice
I mean,
on knees.
I right. I get that. I mean, it's still, but again, you were the one who plummeted through.
Yeah,
So,
but I mean, my
uh,
hands were out, so I landed. The only thing that didn't get wet, was just below the shoulders. So I think and it was a very shallow. I could have, I could, I think I felt the ground, truthfully. So I wouldn't have gone down very far. It was a
okay. So it wasn't
very,
that.
yes,
It wasn't deep,
maybe I
deep.
shouldn't have said that. It was very, very shallow.
Oh,
So yeah, could
I
have
was
gone
expecting
bad.
that. I was thinking like you fell through and like kept going. I was like, how did she get up so quick? If she just like,
Oh,
because like if there's nothing
right.
below you, you're gonna keep falling half the time.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
so that
yeah.
okay, never
No,
mind.
I was not out
I was
far.
confused.
Should have said that. Completely understandable. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have said that, but it's kind of it was an experience. Um, and I'm fine.
Terrifying either way.
Kind of funny. Not gonna lie, I can only imagine how funny it must have looked if you have that in slow motion. You see someone brrrr.
Especially the people next to you were probably just like,
Yeah.
"What just happened? Holy crap!"
Suddenly people are looking. Imagine if we were all standing in a line. So imagine the ones at the end of the line. Just look. Why is everybody upset? Oh my god! Is she through the ice?
Oh,
What happened? What is going on all the way over there? Yeah, that was
well, to me also, I'm thinking like, so typically whenever I like in America, whenever I see ice crack, all the other ice around it starts cracking really fast. So I like it like what it sounds like
really,
to me is like only your
really.
part of ice that is what cracked, and no one else was like freaking out because they thought they were gonna fall in, which I
Oh yeah,
find really
no,
funny. I'm
yeah.
just like, so just that one piece of ice
Oh,
just was like, nope, never mind, not today. I just
yeah.
find
No,
that
I
so
mean,
peculiar.
the we wouldn't have. I completely get that, but I mean, we wouldn't have gone out there unless. Okay, we're getting very off topic here. We can talk about this
No, you're
off the record.
fine.
No,
No,
I
we're
think we
we're
should.
talking about it right now.
I think here it's if I mean if the ice is thick enough, you can go on it. You can walk on it. You can just you can walk. There's a place by me that there's like a lighthouse in the middle of the ocean. It's very close by, but you can't get there unless there's ice, and you can walk to it in the winter when the ice is thick enough. And
That's
there's a
so
story of
cool.
yeah, and if anything breaks, mostly that part is going to break because I don't know why. If any scientists are listening, please, Hank Green, if you're listening, please explain. But I think if the temperatures are cold enough, the ice will be, firm, and then parts of it can break. And I have experienced the cracking of it, but it doesn't go far. And that time it was just because it was so much weight and we just plummeted down. But it was just that part because no one else was, jumping on each other's backs. I don't know the science behind it. Maybe it is just maybe it's Nordic ice and not Maryland ice.
Oh, true. I mean, you're in the Nordic region, that ice is probably always thicker. Like ice here is just super thin, but it's also like we mentioned earlier
Right.
off the podcast, is that Maryland weather is just very bipolar.
Yeah.
Yesterday it was 70 degrees. For
I don't
anyone
know what
in
that is.
Europe,
If
that
that
would
is
be about
that is
21. That's
fucking
like
insane temperatures. You would be so dead. God, use real temperatures.
70
Fuck's sake.
70 degrees Fahrenheit here is about 21 degrees Celsius there.
Gee, that's
Um
summer weather. That is legitimate
but
summer weather.
so it was 70 t-shirt weather yesterday, and today it was 39, almost about in the close to the range where it would snow. I was wearing sweatpants and a large sweater the very next day,
God.
and I was still cold, and the wind is whipping outside, and we're all mad because it was beautiful last week, and now it's just complete shit.
Yeah.
So, but I will
And
to drag this
yeah,
even further off topic. You mentioned Hank
that's
Green.
the
I
point.
love Hank Green. He is
Everybody loves
fantastic,
Hank
and for
Green.
anyone here who,
Who doesn't?
well, whoever here does not know who Hank Green is, he also has a brother who is a writer, who is
Yeah.
also just as amazing. I forget his name off the top of my
Yeah.
head.
John. His name is
But both
John.
of them, if anyone here that, yeah, I think John Green or something like that. But for all
Yes,
audience members,
John.
if you're listening, check those two out because they're both hilarious and I love both of them. So,
Yes. And
anyways.
now, John and Hank, this is your turn to give us a shout out in return, because that's, that's common courtesy. If someone does something nice, you do something nice back.
That would be fantastic.
Yes.
I'd be like, all
Shout
right,
out
sure,
him.
why not?
If any of the 2 million followers that we have, because yes, in a week we have reached 2 million followers. We're now the most popular podcast in the world. We're going to get many awards and recognition for our wonderful work. And then we're going to start doing drugs and ruin our lives completely and have to sell everything we own in order
You
to
might.
make it and then go to jail.
I do not take any ownership of that comment. I will
Yes, you
not be
do.
doing drugs and going to
You
jail.
will, though. You
No,
will.
no, no.
You will.
No, I won't.
You absolutely will. Yes, and you will become a
If I
junkie,
haven't
and
done drugs up
then
to
we
this
will
point in my life,
start
I will
doing
not.
meth and sell meth,
We've
and
gotten
then
so
everybody's
far off
gonna die.
topic. It's
10 points to anyone who understood that reference.
You're a really big pessimist right now.
I am not. This is just I'm actually
you're just
I'm
diving
psychic.
down.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm psychic. So
The skeptic is a
I
psychic
can
now.
see the future. Yes, I'm a psychic. I am Barbie because I am everything that I want to be in the moment. So if I say I'm an astronaut, I'm an astronaut. Except that I want to be an astronaut because
Oh,
space is fucking terrifying.
I would love to visit space. I would love to be able to
Ugh.
afford a plane ticket to take a spaceship up to just see space.
If you do that,
I
you're an
might die up
idiot,
there. Who
an
knows?
absolute
But
fool. So then, if
cool.
you
So when I
die
hit
up
the
there, that's your
lottery
fault.
and get 100 grand, I'll splurge 100 grand on a ticket to
That
go up to
would be
space.
so unbelievably stupid. I don't understand anybody that wants to go to space. That is fucking terrifying.
Because
What is out
you
there?
live
No.
only a certain amount of time. You only live a certain amount of time. You might as well experience what you can. And if I
I
can
say
buy it, if I win $100 million, a part of that
no.
is going to go to a plane ticket to go up to space,
Nah.
or a rocket ship ticket, whatever it's called.
Stupid. Silly. Very, very silly. Would you have gone down to see the Titanic if you were offered?
Absolutely not.
Good. That is the right answer. Thank you. That was a
We don't
fucking
need
shit
another
show.
experience like what happened last
Oh,
summer.
that was
So,
a shit show and absolutely horrifying, frankly.
well, that's the other, to drag this as far off topic as we possibly
Oh,
can.
the humanity.
They even mentioned after that whole submarine blowing up thing
Yeah.
from last summer,
Imploding.
Imploding, where it's crazy to think that we have been able to build technology that we can go to space and land on the
I know.
moon. If anyone
I
here
know.
is a believer in all of that and not a flat earther or whatever.
Oh my god, if you're a
The
flat
fact that we were
earther,
able to
then
get
leave.
people
Go away immediately and rethink all your life choices. I'm sorry, but you're not allowed to listen to this podcast if you're a flat earther.
Well, I mean, but okay, but basically what I'm saying is like the fact that we were able to potentially get a person to the moon,
Yeah.
but we can't go, into the depths of the water because we just can't. All that pressure that builds up because of water, like we don't know
Yes.
what's down. Like we know to a certain extent what's down there, but even like our latest high tech, military submarines cannot go to the depths of which
Right.
they were trying to get to.
How
Which is
can't.
mind-boggling to think.
I know. What is it? I mean, we know more about space than we know about our own oceans. What is it?
Yep.
Only 5% is explored. That is so
like
terrifying. That. What is down there? I need to know. I gets to know. And I agree with you completely.
And also because it just gets so dark down there that they say
God,
even
yes.
like flashlights, it's like you can't see anything even with the light.
I hate
Whereas
it.
in space, sure, it's dark, but you still have like the light of other sort of like other planets. I don't know if anyone here is a bigger fan of space that will be calling bullshit on me. I don't know how darkness and light works in space. Maybe I'm completely off my rails here, but I assume there is still some light
to me,
when you're in space.
Yeah.
Thank you. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it.
You're welcome. Yes.
I'm definitely not, but thank you.
Well, just take the compliment and pretend you're a genius.
I'm taking the
Yes.
compliment.
Good.
People oftentimes always tell me to take the compliment, and I never do. So thank you.
Good. Good. I actually, speaking of the depths and waters, I actually do have another creepy story involving water. No wonder I'm scared of water.
Oh, fun.
I was on a boat when I was maybe 8 years old. I was with my cousins and my aunt, and we just kind of stopped the boat in the middle of, not in the middle of nowhere, but it was rural in the ocean sense. I don't know what rural is in ocean terms, but we had stopped the boat or anchored down or whatever the fuck the terms are. I don't know. And we were
You were in the
swimming,
deep sea, essentially.
kind of not deep, but sort
Kind
of
of.
on the brink of it. And we were swimming, and I decided to, you know, kind of move my arms upward so that I would go far down under the
Oh
um
no.
under the water. Yes, and I wanted to see how far down can I go. And then I remember this so vividly. I remember looking up and then seeing the light go further and further down, and I was very deep down. And then I was like, oh, I started freaking out, and I immediately just I kind of freaked out, and I did it to myself. So I have no one else to blame but myself. But I do remember that, and it got very dark, and seeing just a tiny piece of light far up. I mean, I think it might have been at least a meter or a meter and a half. And I'm not going to translate that to the to your units because NASA uses metric system. So why shouldn't the rest of you? I'm not a
I will say
yeah.
I've also had a similar, well, not okay, not in the sense of
Oh.
going under. Well, I've had two water stories happen to me. One going underwater, kind of, and
Mhm.
not trying to like do a pencil dive like you did, basically like throwing your arms up and
Oh,
just
that's
seeing
what I
how
did.
deep you can
Was it
get.
cool?
But I mean, if you're jumping from a
Oh no, I wasn't
like
jumping.
a
I was
diving
just
board,
no. I
I
wasn't
know, but
jumping.
that's what, if you would throw your arms up in the air and then you're like kind of, that would be called a pencil dive, where you try
Oh,
to make
all right,
yourself
all
real
right.
thin
Yes, no,
and then you
yes, I know that.
go into the water. So in some
Good
cases,
translation.
that's what it made me think of, at least. Yeah. Um,
Oh,
but for me, it was I was riding. Do you know what a boogie board is?
yes.
So I was like a kid. I was at, I don't know. I was at 8 maybe.
Mhm.
Went to the beach with some family friends, and I was on a
As you
boogie
do.
board, and I went out, and I tried to catch a wave, but in trying to catch the wave swept me under, essentially. I couldn't get over it. It just took me right underneath.
Oh
And I
no.
remember just tumbling. Like
Oh
that's
fuck.
all I remember is
Oh
just
no.
tumbling like over and over. And it basically threw me back onto the beach.
Oh my god. Oh
Thankfully,
my
it didn't take
god.
me out. It just threw me onto the beach. And I wasn't terribly
Good
far away
lord.
to begin with. But all that tumbling made me like lose track of where I was. So thankfully, it at least chucked me back on. But yeah, that was
Right,
terrifying
right.
because like you go under and you're just like, you're circling around in circles and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. So that was definitely terrifying.
Jeez.
But the other incident I had on a boogie board, which is really funny to me that I've had so many terrifying incidences
Okay.
and yet I still do more terrifying things. um,
Sounds
so I clearly
smart,
just
very smart.
like sitting on the edge of a cliff at the Grand Canyon, 13,000 feet up, and just being like, "Oh, look, mom."
Excuse me? Oh, you're
Yeah,
one of
I
those
don't think I've told you
fools.
that, but that's another story.
Oh, ha.
But
Oh no.
the other water story though is
I hate all
yeah,
of
like I
that.
said, I was riding a boogie board and I wanted just to like see how like I wanted to go out far, but I didn't realize how far I actually went until I turned
Mhm.
around and I was really far away. Like the people on the beach looked like little dots. And
Oh
I realized
no.
in that moment that I was in a bit of
Yep.
a
Mm.
situation.
Yep. Yep.
I was far enough out, obviously, that I couldn't really see anyone, but I was still close enough because I could see the pier, and
Mhm.
the pier stretched out further than I did. So I knew I wasn't, while I was deep, I wasn't like deep, deep, deep. But definitely getting back was going to be a problem because like you're swimming
Right.
against the wave, like with and against the waves at the same time at that point. But luckily, my friend's dad was able to like,
I
him
was
and
thinking
someone
that.
else came swimming out as I was swimming in, and they kind of dragged me back, and they're like, "What were you doing?" I was like, "I didn't think I'd get this far."
Why do we do this as people? Why do we like to push the boundaries? Because I've tried to do that as well, just see how far out I can go, but I always chicken out, which I guess good. But why do we do it? Why do we want to test and then just creep ourselves out and we have to fight for our life to get back? Why are we like this as humans?
I think some of us just like to push our limits a little bit.
Yeah, but why?
And some of us,
Why?
including me, are a bit too calm when we do it. Like
Yeah.
how I said I sat on the edge of a cliff
Oh my God.
at the Grand
Oh,
Canyon, and I felt incredibly comfortable. I felt so calm
oh
when I
no.
was just sitting there, and like I wasn't
No.
sitting there like thinking I'm gonna jump off. So anyone worrying, no, that's not the case. I love heights, and I just love, I don't know,
Excuse
something
me.
about heights. I'm not afraid at all. So I've stood
Well,
on 20-foot
uh,
tall
uh,
ladders without safety before. Like,
uh,
that is a very stupid thing. Don't do that. No one do that. I've done it before though. um,
you are
but yeah,
terrifying me.
something about heights. I love the view from high up places. I don't know. I just That's me.
You,
Um,
I am not scared of the paranormal, and I am a skeptic, but that, I am frozen in fear at what you're saying right now. There is nothing that scares me more than
well,
heights. My God, what is wrong with you? How can you?
then all of our audience members listening, if any of you know what wing walking is, or if you don't know what wing walking is, I have made it a bucket list item to go wing walking,
No,
and I won't describe what it
I
is. You
can,
guys can look it up
I
yourself.
can guess, and
um but it's
oh my God,
definitely something I've been wanting to do. I thought about doing it for my birthday, but instead I'm going to be doing something else for my birthday, probably to the
oh
benefit
my
of all
God,
my friends not being terrified that I might die. So,
oh my
yeah.
God, oh my God. I
Anyways,
think this is where we should end the episode before I have a panic attack at the thought
lose
of
it.
all of this. My God, you are terrifying me. Oh my God, stop, 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 stop. That's where we end this. And with that terrifying confession that has shook me to my core, we say farewell to you all. Farewell, that's another way of saying that. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode as much as we enjoyed making it. We will be back next week with a brand new episode, and in the meantime, have a good week. Follow us on Spotify and Instagram for additional updates and posts, and we'll see you in a week. Ciao!